Welcome back from that break. This is still Spotlight with Mercy on Kaftan Television, like I said, here in Abuja, and discussing developments in FCT, analyzing some WIKE's performance in 1 year in office. But before then, let me remind you that some ministers has been discharged of their duty today. That's sad. By 5 ministers we heard. So let's get to it. And in renewed hope of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, let's see what his cabinet has achieved during this period. And joining me in the studio is Comrade Duke Alamboye, who is the national president, Nigerian Youth Organization. It's glad to have you join me in the studio.
Thank you very much.
Very good evening.
Thank you very much, Nigerians.
Glad to have you. Well, let's begin with. Let me start by asking you. What level of development would you say has Abuja, that's the Federal Capital Territory, has gained since the inception of WIKE?
Well, Mercy, I guess you are in Abuja, and I'm sure
I've been here, and I'm here.
The news and credits of the Abuja itself. So we used to have a city where it seems like absolutely there is nothing to do. But since the inception of WIKE, it seemed like putting the right peg in the right hole. So we begin to see that there's a lot actually to do to make Abuja look and have that character of a national city where the presidency, a befitting city. You know, these are our leaders, they travel, we all travel. We know how serene and how secure the capital territories of the countries used to be. And I think that these are the aspirations of the minister since he came into office. He has looked at what could enable him perform and make that changes that is required. I think you bear with me that in time past, during elections, we've seen where the president, when they contest, the sitting president had lost election in the FCT. And I want to quickly attribute that to the fact that the indigents and the occupants of Abuja have not been really happy. You know, the center cities are just being developed and within their circles, that's what they do. And forget about the other occupants, that the subordinates that support the activities of the FCDA and the FCT and the president at large. So the minister had come in, and the first thing he did was to ensure that they have financial autonomy. They also have the character of the government. After the governors come to take what they call their distinct from the federal government, monthly allocations from the federal government. So why wouldn't the FCT have its own allocation? So prior to this time, the allocation was tied to the single treasury account. So I think the minister quickly had to find that out so that they can have independence, financial autonomy to operate. And since he did that, the president had granted that autonomy, and the single treasury account, they were pulled out of that account, and that has given lots of independence to social development, to economic development, and political development in the FCT. So we can see the developmental strides. He has gone around road constructions. He has opened so many roads, abandoned roads that could connect the cities, and we can see the flow around the cities, the roads that have been constructed. Not only the city, he has gone into the 5 municipal council areas and also tried to develop their major roads that could give easy access for civil servants that reside in the rural area within the FCT to have flow movement. And then apart from that, we've also seen lots of infrastructural development in the rural areas, schools renovations. In almost all the municipalities, is taking from the primary schools, developing and reconstructing all the schools to standard. So these are the things that he has put on ground in the few period that he has come into existence. And then, of course, one would say, looking at Abuja, it has a character of a state. And so therefore, they have state civil service that works in the FCDA, apart from the Federal Ministry of Federal Civil Service. They also have the FCDA as a ministry. So he has also fought for their independence, where all civil servants in the FCDA could have that privilege as they are having in other states, as regards pensions and all that. So today we also see the minister had gone to fight for the independence of the civil service, the FCDA civil service, and today they have their civil service commission, they have permanent secretaries and all of that. Again, the first time in the history of the FCT, the minister had also looked at areas of developing the youth base of the FCT and the women base of the FCT, such that he has also gone into the creation of the Ministry of Women Affairs, which is headed by a mandate secretary, and also the Ministry of Youth Affairs. Don't forget that in time past, it has been youth agitation. So today now, the FCDA itself have a common ground, a common office where indigenous youth bodies and the national youth bodies and affiliate youth bodies can go and have their functions together. So a lot has been happening since the inception of this man they refer to as the workaholic man.
Well, I love that. The workaholic man.
As I speak with you, more projects are still ongoing. Just yesterday or a few days ago, I think he has deemed it fit that in the Federal Capital Territory, I think judges should at least have a place. Yeah,
I was going to come to that, but before then, viewers, this is at the point the discussion has just started. You can call into giving your contribution and join the conversation. Well, let our MCR play the video where at the airport road where demolition has taken place, Sabon Lube. And I want to ask, in the area of demolition, we cannot hide or shy away from the fact that we've seen quite a number of things that WIKE has done in the 1 year into office. But let's look at it from this area of demolition. Please, let's look at that video where, as of yesterday, I think it was just yesterday, where WIKE has gone to some part of airport road, Sabon Lube, where there is a demolition going on, and it is no news that this government has brought untold hardship upon Nigerians. And of course, we understand that in the renewed hope of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, certain things must be done. But let's look at what WIKE has done in terms of demolition and compare it to empowerment program. I am not saying he hasn't done anything, like I said. No, he has carried out infrastructures. We've seen them. But one might think, or one might pause to ask, with the level of demolition he has done compared to empowerments, it is beginning to look like there is some political agenda to some of the demolitions that have been carried out by the minister Nyesom Wike.
Okay,
is there anything like that? Is there because the way the demolition is going?
There's no political motivation. Let me. I'm not a spokesman, but I think to the best of my knowledge, we've been in Abuja for the past 10 years and counting, and we all know how politicians notoriously, let me use that word, and freely acquire lands even without getting to know the real and the appropriate areas for development. We've seen where buildings are constructed on sewages, buildings are constructed on waterways, buildings are constructed where they are not supposed to be constructed. Okay. So, and in time past, it has been overlooked. So many of the houses around the maritime axis, with the two axes, are all empty, but people want to just come to the FCT, and after their service they want to build buildings and dump them and go back to their. So these are the corrective measures. In Nigeria or in our country, it's unfortunate that when they want to fight the good things, check out the cost of living in the FCT, and that is because so many places that are meant for civil servants have been preoccupied and occupied by the Buddhists that have served the nation, but are supposed to go back, but they've also built buildings. So I think it is not, there's no political agenda to this. What I think is correcting, he has taken a good look on his team. Himself and his team, they've taken a good look at.
If you're saying there is no political agenda, so there is a case where there is a case of a certain demolition where he said that there are some persons that are making emphasis that he's trying to, destroy the hard work or hard-earned property of an Igbo man. So what I'm not saying is just an assumption.
You see, Messi, I understand completely. People would always, you can't satisfy everybody. People will always make a scene out of situations, and if the main cause, most times we get distracted with emotions on when things happen. So the main cause should be these buildings that they are demolishing, are they part of the master plan? Even you're going to distort a master plan, I think people would have sat down. In Abuja is designed in such a way that we have gray areas, we have green areas, we have areas that are for recreations, we have areas that are for residentials, we have areas of purely commercial. So when you mix up all of that and you call it your hard-earned money, you can't say because of an individual development. And there are areas that those lands are actually for major roads. So when you construct there, these houses are not just demolished, they are compensated for. So that is the side people are not saying. Okay,
have you seen any which recently compensated?
Okay, yeah, recently he made for the first time he made a vocal announcement that the land is using to develop for the judges. He said it was over 15 to 20 years acquired by is it Julius Berger or so. So you can imagine acquiring such a huge amount of land and just keeping it for nothing for 20 years. So he revoked it and they are compensated for it. So people come out to say their houses are demolished and all of that, but they don't explain the illegalities at which they've acquired the land. Sometimes we go out to buy lands that we know that this is not authentic. We go ahead, but because we want to stay in the FCT, we go ahead to purchase such land. And when the law takes its course, we feel so spited and then want to abuse or make people feel emotional about it. There's no emotions when it comes to doing the right thing. So I think it is not the right step. If you look at the Lube houses, people sell land discriminately.
If you say he's on the right step, is it not better if the FCT administration or pursue a legal means of dissolving this matter? Because we've seen cases. There was a certain video of one about, is it 200 hectare or whatever, or 500 something, that that was a case between the FCDA and that of WIKE. So isn't it better if he follows a legal process dissolving this matter, just like the way you went during his speech? You say we are going to pull it down, boom, boom. Like no. Okay. Those
statements are hard major statements. WIKE is also, don't forget, is a lawyer, and is a lawyer that understands that for every step he's going to take, he's also going to check the legal aspect of it. So I don't think because he came to television or social media or media front to say we're going to demolish this, he's sending a signal to people that look, those illegalities that we've been doing prior to this time, ages, how they sell lands and even lands that are not supposed to that are not meant for building, they do all those sort of things, and he had come to wipe all those things off. So getting the system straight is difficult because people are going to fight against that system, and today we are seeing a man that is resolved in getting it right. So he must also put up that bully attitude to ensure that he's not waste out of his intentions to making the FCT a standard place for people to stay. So in this country that when you want to fight corruption, it has a better tendency and stronger tendency to fight back. So he is trying to absorb and make sure that he is not distracted of his class, his political class. So because people feel that when you attend a particular class, you cannot be touched. So he is passing a message that look, if we must deliberately bring that required change in the FCT, as it were, or it's supposed to be, we must touch ourselves.
Wait,
and exactly that's what he's doing.
Now this is it. I don't know. You talked about taking the bold step, which is quite applaudable.
Yes.
But don't you think it should be balanced? Because as of today, the House of Representatives has, summoned WIKE and some other security agencies for rising insecurity. Now, when you leave this office, when you leave my office, you follow here. You will see some major roads. You come across some major roads that don't have street lights. What happens to that aspect? Is it all just all about demolition? What happens to sometimes when I'm driving home, even at Airport Road, you don't see street lights. Some of the lights are bad.
Okay, so these are the issues.
Now, mind you, there are certain things. These are when you talk of these are the things that has contributed to insecurity, because peradventure you're driving now, when you leave my office, when you're driving out and your car broke down or something happened, there is no way there is this tendency, 90% tendency that you might be robbed because there is no light, that the place is dark. You might be harmed by bad boys.
You're very correct.
So what is he doing in that aspect?
Exactly. The fight for insecurity or a secure society is not vested in the hands of one man. It is holistic. It is for everybody. It's generic. So it's something that is not trending only in the FCT. But I think you're correct to say that the FCT is ought to have its priority, basic priority, because it houses the presidency and other very important ministries in the country. I agree with you that. So, and don't forget, this is where we also have all the sitting service chiefs seated in this in Abuja. So I think it's just few months ahead of 1 year. So he has a 4-year tenure to run, and I'm sure that he has great concerns for insecurity and is doing that. I think he has put in place 1 or 2 man resources, but I want to agree with you that man resources is not enough. today's insecurity we are facing had gone beyond human solution. They have to apply technological solutions. The street lights in Abuja, this is one critical area.
A lot of them
I think,
are not
yes,
working.
I think the FCT minister should look into, because when the street lights are on, it won't be easy to, you know, leash on, leash on people indiscriminately. So I think it's one core area. These are the things that we want. I think people should be emphasizing more areas for the FCT minister to draw his attention to more areas. I was going to talk also about communication. I think he has not also done well in the area of communication. It has his mother, media home. That should also be used, because the more communication level is free and accessible, the more crimes can be reported, the more people can access easy means to communicate for industry. So I think the spaces should be opened up. You're quite correct. Insecurity is a burden issue at the end of the affairs of the FCT, and I think the FCT minister, before he finishes his tenure, it will solve those. It will surmount all those
quite
issues.
a long time that when you talk about everything, that every development and every growth of a nation starts from security, because things and businesses.
So okay, if you don't sanitize, if you don't sanitize,
things and businesses won't function when there is no conducive environment.
But I think the businesses in Abuja.
Now let me get your reaction on this before we sign out, because our time is fast spent. Nyesom Wike is the former governor of Rivers State, and since the emergence of the new governor, it's been more than 1 year, so not really new. There's been this unending battle, and of recent there's been kind of conflicting order, and where the federal high court is giving go ahead, and the state high court is saying, oh no, don't do. So what do you make out of all of this? And some persons feel like Nyesom Wike is the major fuel behind this reverse crisis.
Mercy is well, I feel bad about the situation in my state. I'm from River State, so I feel bad about the situation, and I think I know to the best of the knowledge, I know to a certain extent what are the issues and all of that. But
so
let me for the want of time, let me restrict it to the allegations of the FCT minister using the courts to undo. Of course, the lawyers or the judges we have in the country, they are very learned, and until Nigerians begin to disassociate themselves or separate emotions from the law, I've seen a case that was lost, but the evidence, because the evidences were not, people were not able to produce those evidences. But in rare cases, the issue of Dakuku and I think still Nyesom Wike, that election, everybody knew in this country that there were massacre in River State, but because of the inability of substantive evidences, the court is not emotional. So when people begin to say Nyesom Wike is not in court, the minister is not in court, the minister is doing his job in Abuja. So we agree that he has a soft for a certain the legislators in the state. They are in the court, they are the people pursuing their case. So if they've won a case, and the prayers, let us also put one, I'm not a lawyer, but for the little I know about these cases, the prayers differ. So when you have a particular prayer, and in your thoughts, legislators and River State government has gone to court, oh, legislators won, and you don't know the prayers, you don't know the proceedings in court. All we just know emotionally, we say, oh, this and that is happening. So I think is a cake to begin to sound that way, that the FCT minister is using judges to gain this thing. It tampers on the integrity of the judiciary. We lip mouth the judiciary to penury, and that is not fair enough. Nyesom Wike cannot and does not have the right to control the judiciary. Cases are brought before them. They need substantive evidences, in whatever way you want to look at it, to have their judgment. And of course, if you are not contented, if you are not too okay on a particular resolution or judgment from the court, you go to the higher court for interpretation. If the higher court interprets it in your favor or against you, so be it. So this speculation of people using the court is so sad that federal high court, for that matter, they have the integrity, they are learned people, they are people that have gone through the laws and they know the tenets of that profession. So it's sad people do that, and I think it should not be condoned.
But then when you look at the fact that Nyesom Wike is not making any efforts in regards that of the river political crisis, and we of course we knew that
it will not be right to say that he's not making any effort.
No, I am just
Yes.
let me ask my question. And we knew this crisis all started when he was denied the ticket of the People's Democratic Party. But some persons would wonder, you know, as someone who has been in office, and not just office, as a father, isn't it high time, you know, they just allow peace reign?
What is peace? In every political setting, you must disagree to agree. Of course, that is why people are in politics. The basic is to win.
We've seen that. Yes,
the basic is to win. So
this of River State has lingered, like it has lingered more than.
I want to agree with people that are saying that they need political solutions in River State. Don't forget how many times the president has waved into it. Let's begin to ask questions. When the president waved into it, it was a political solution, and people misunderstood the content of those agendas, or those doesn't play down for them to follow, and people misinterpreted, and today it has lingered to this moment. We've also seen, unfortunately, we have some elders that are taking parts in this that knows that in politics it is still the same WIKE that brought out a riverine candidate for Rivers people, as we've cried. I, for one, I have sat one-on-one. I've stood one-on-one with him to confront him, to say that after his tenure, if he's a good man, he should give Rivers people a riverine governor. And today he stood among all odds, stood his ground with that same structure they are talking about to produce a governor. What is happening today?
And he produced who?
He produced Sim Fubara.
Okay, he did produce Sim Fubara, but is there like does it feel like the governor owe him some level of loyalty? So why? Because we've been trying to understand what has brought this on ending loggerhead issue. It
is natural, and it is also we should begin to know that loyalty is part of politics.
So this is a thing of godfatherism.
No. It's quite different from godfatherism. Being loyal to a system.
So what
being loyal to a political party. Being loyal to.
Since you bought the ticket, so
no, it's not a matter of buying them ticket. It's a matter of a government is set. Look, I used to give this illustration. Let's take a look at Lagos State. People kept saying that the present president today, Bola Tinubu, was the all and all in Lagos. But let us be sincere. He has transited from one government. I think this is the fourth governor River State is having, and because they've kept to a clean state, no state is as developed as Lagos. It's not magic. It's pure practical. And I think this is what Nyesom Wike had wanted River State to become. River State and Lagos State are the two major states that are contending. We have seaport, they have seaport. We have economic viability, they have. Nothing would have stopped River State to have developed the way Lagos has developed. But because in time past, there is this termination of when a particular government goes off, the other one comes and starts a new one and all of that. Peter Odile, with due respect, the major, or let me even go down to Rufus Sada George. These are people that laid good foundation. Look at the antecedent of Nyesom Wike. It took the antecedents from them, laying good foundations. And if in his own goodwill, he has said, okay, look, let's also bring a system, a structure that will maintain these developmental strides. We have to make, River State is a producer of oil and gas in the country. We don't have any reason not to be developed. So what crime?
Well, all right. I wish we could continue this discussion, but I guess I will have to bring you back to, elaborate more on this. But due to time, this is where we have to, come to the end of this topic. Thank you so much, Comrade, for coming. I really do appreciate it. And
thank you very much. I appreciate
it. Tell us more about River Crisis. Trust me, you're definitely coming back. We'll quickly go on a short break. When I return, we'll discuss Nigeria electoral system. Do stay with us.